my name, so I'm used to that. Okay, today I'm going to talk about the European home improvement developments that we see in Italy and in the rest of Europe. And I must say it's a real honor for me to be here, the first Dutchman at the stage of the Brico Day. Before I start, I want to tell a little bit more about our company. We are a market research agency which is specialized in construction and DIY segments. We were established in 1993, and at the moment we have 50 consultants and research analysts working at our head office in Rotterdam, the Netherlands. And we also have a subsidiary in Düsseldorf to cover the German market. Below you can see some of our customers. They're in construction, finishing, installation and DIY. And we do a lot of dedicated research for them, which means it's tailor-made research. But besides these researches, we also do some multi-client studies here in Italy, but also in other European countries. These are continuous studies. We do this all the time, each quarter or on a monthly basis. It's among architects, professional painters, HVAC installers, and the European Home Improvement Monitor, which is among consumers. Today I will share some insights from two of those monitors, the Architect Monitor and the Consumer Monitor, to see where the market is going. And I will start by showing these developments in the European market, then tell a little bit more about the shift that we see from DIY to do it for me. And I'll end by telling some more about the trend and the opportunities that there are in e-commerce. First, when we look at the market developments from our architect study, we can combine some numbers to give a prediction model. That's exactly what we did. We combined the housing sales, we combined the building permits that were given by the government, and the information that we got from our study about the turnover developments of architects. And then we can see how the market is developing in the past, but also in the future. As you can see, there's a very negative trend in Italy in the past years. We started this research in 2010, and still it is in a negative slope, both in the residential as in the non-residential market. While in Europe, the first few years were also quite negative, but now we see we're at a turning point, and we see some growth again in some of the countries in both the residential and the non-residential market. If we look in more detail to the countries, we see that Germany and Poland are doing really good. They're on a growth in building volumes since 2010. In Italy and France, the numbers are still negative in terms of building volumes. So that's from the professional side, but also very important, of course, for the DIY products that are sold. Another question that we asked to the architects is, do they have an empty order books in the next 12 months? As you can see, the blue line, which is Italy, is very volatile, which means that the architects are quite insecure about their order portfolio in each quarter. In the second quarter of 2013, this was at the highest point. 50% of the architects thought that their order portfolio would be empty in the next 12 months. At this moment, it is only 30%, which is still a bit high, but it's not as bad as it was. In Europe, it's also on a lower level here. When looking at the building permits, we only have the data available until the second quarter of 2014. But you see that the building permits compared to 2010 are only half as big. You know, the numbers are only the half, both in the residential and in the non-residential market. When we look, for instance, at Germany, you can see a big growth in the residential market. 50% more building permits are now being given by the government compared to 2010. In the non-residential market, the line is quite stable. It's basically on the same level as in 2010. So that's it for the professional market. Now have a look at the consumer market, because I also have some good news for Italy. These were also only negative lines. But we see some improvement on the consumer side. We see the consumer confidence raise, and this is also something that we monitor in our study, the Home Improvement Monitor. With this study, we're trying to measure all the home improvement activities that consumers are doing in their house or having done by professionals. Because most of our customers are interested in the development in general, but mainly in their own products. We set up a very big research in which we conduct 26,000 interviews on a yearly basis to gain enough insights for each product category. We have 20 different product categories, and we do the research in 11 countries, so we can give very detailed information based on the big database that we build up. First, let's see what's happening in the spending on home improvement. This is the spending on home improvement. This is labor and products included in both, in the 11 countries. So we saw in the first quarter of 2015, this year, a rise of 6.8% in the spending of consumers on home improvement. In the second quarter, there was also a small increase of 2.5%. So, well, home improvement is doing quite well this year compared to last year. And when we divide this over countries, we see the biggest increase in the Netherlands, Germany and Spain. Germany and Spain is almost 5% in the first half of this year. UK is 4%, and there's also a small plus in France and Italy, 1.3% in Italy. So that's an increased spending on home improvement, which includes labor and products. If we look at the purchase channel where consumers buy their products, there's also a big difference between Italy and the other European countries. The main difference is caused by the fact that Italy is very much a do-it-for-me country. Much of the home improvement jobs are done by professionals. So you see that of all home improvement products that were purchased, 40% were purchased by professionals, which went into the residential market. In Europe, this was only 22%. So there's a big difference there, and most European consumers shop at the DIY store. 46% was bought at a DIY store in Europe, and this is only 28% in Italy, which is still the biggest purchase channel there. And what is also striking is the percentage, the market share of specialty shops. The specialty shops are also very important in Italy, more important than in other European countries. Well, then something about the shift from do-it-yourself to do-it-for-me. Europe is aging. We can see examples of that all around us, and this will have an impact on our industry. The population in 2012, 22% of the population was 60 years or older. In 2050, this will be a third. A third of our population in Europe will be older than 60 years. So this must have an impact, and we expect that this will have an impact in more do-it-for-me. And that's why we're also monitoring this, and we're analyzing this with our database. We looked if it's really true that consumers, the older they get, the more they have the jobs done by professional instead of doing it themselves. The amount of home improvement jobs that are done by the income, the higher the income, more jobs are done by professionals. And the fact if people rent a house or own a house, if you rent a house, a lot of the home improvement jobs are done also by professionals, because the landlord is giving permission for this. So do we already monitor this shift in do-it-yourself to do-it-for-me because of the aging in Europe? No, we don't actually. We are measuring now for 3 years. What we can see here is again that Italy is really a do-it-for-me country compared to other countries, for instance Belgium, where only 25% of the home improvement jobs are done by professional. In Italy this is almost 40%. But if we look at the long term, the quarter since 2013, there's not a clear shift going on right now from do-it-yourself to do-it-for-me. However, this is something that we expect. it just needs some more years. It won't happen in the next 2 years, but it will happen for sure in the next 10 years. Then onto e-commerce. I didn't show it in the purchase channels just yet, but I like to show it now. 5%, around 5% of all home improvement products that are bought in Europe are bought online at this moment. This is, I don't know if you think this is big or not, but it's growing very fast. In 2014 it grew with 7%, and also in the first half of this year there was a steady growth of 2%. And it, of course, it differs per product category, and it also differs per country. The countries which are leading in e-commerce in home improvement are Germany and UK. The percentages here are around 7 to 8%. In Italy, 3.1% of the home improvement products which are purchased by professionals are sold online. Purchased by the consumers are sold online. When we look at specific products like paint in this case, well, then percentages are very low. For paint it's only around 1 or 2% in each country. But this is already higher with bathroom products, especially when you look at Germany. There you can see that it's 50%, and in Italy this is 3.7%. So this is a category which is much more suitable for e-commerce. Power tools is even higher. This is around 20% in some of the countries. Now, if you divide the online buyers and the buyers in physical stores into 2 groups, and you ask them, why did you buy online, or what was the reason for buying in a physical stores, you'll get the following reasons. The first group, the physical store buyers, they say, I got better personal attention, it was easier to return the product if necessary, and I got better information in the store. The online buyers, on the other hand, said they got a better price, it was easier to find and compare the products, there was a larger assortment, and the online shops had better opening hours. There's one thing that they don't agree on, and that's what is faster. Both groups say it's faster to buy online, and the other group says it's faster to buy in a physical store, but those are their main reasons for choosing the channel. Now, when we look at what's happening in our industry right now, is that the DIY stores are opening up their own websites. B&Q, as an example, has done this several years ago. They're very experienced already with retail and e-tail combination, the hybrid model. Some other stores are starting right now. Hornbach has started this in the past year. I think the retailers that didn't start with a website and an online shop yet will do this soon. And on the other side we have the pure players, and we can group this into 4 groups. The generalist resellers, which is Amazon, which sell all kinds of products. The platforms and marketplaces like Google Shopping, which become more and more a platform between the actual shops and the consumers who are orientating on products. We have specialist resellers like Paint Direct, for instance, just selling one product and pretend to be the specialist in that. And we have the manufacturer brands that sell directly to consumers. For instance, Dulux is already doing this in the UK. But there are also other examples, especially in power tools, where A brands are selling directly to consumers. Now what we see is that these groups are mixing up. We see that the retailers are starting online websites as well. They're starting pure player websites. And on the other hand, we see the pure players, for instance, a specialist reseller in bathroom products, opening up physical stores. So it's all mixing up. And a good example of that is Amazon, which started in 1995 as an online bookstore, but after 1 year they decided to also sell other products, videos, music, and in 2000 they opened a marketplace, so they were also a platform for other web shops to sell their products. And later on they acquired more and more specialist resellers, and in 2007 they even made their own product, the Kindle, which is an e-reader. So they're also a manufacturer who sells directly to consumers. So they're in each of the segments that models that I've just described. We asked consumers, what type of website would you prefer to buy online for a home improvement product? Do you want to buy on an online shop of a DIY store? Do you want to buy at a general merchandise store or a website of a brand manufacturer? Or doesn't it matter to you? Well, basically, the consumer doesn't care that much. The largest group, almost half of the consumers say, I have no preference. I just choose the website that offers me the best price. And also for the other websites, there's not a clear winner there already. So the consumer doesn't really seem to care, which is logical since the channels are mixing up there. Now, what can we learn from other branches? I have a case example from Samsung with the television market, because what's happening in e-commerce in DIY right now also happened in electronics, but then this was 10 years earlier. This is a case from the Netherlands, Samsung and MediaMarkt. You probably know them both as well in Italy. Samsung, their biggest partner was MediaMarkt, and they had a problem because there were a lot of online shops popping up selling Samsung televisions for a low price. MediaMarkt get mad at them, and they're saying you have to do something about this. And Samsung was a bit afraid because of the large impact that MediaMarkt had on their sales. So what they started to do at first was they bought up the parallel import. That's who were delivering to the web shops. They monitored the retailers with the lowest prices, and they were constantly apologizing to MediaMarkt. Sorry that there's again a television at a low price in some website, but we're doing everything we can. Of course, this is not something that you can go on for many years. So they decided to have a different strategy, and they turned it around to a positive policy, which they call, and they took it in their own hands by selecting some preferred online partners. So there were 5 to 10 online stores that were able to sell the Samsung products, and they created a fair give and take game with these online partners, which means that they generate traffic for their partners. When consumers were visiting the online stores from Samsung, they were linked to the web shops where they can buy the products, and they gave the new products at first to their selected partners. On the other hand, they wanted something back for this. They wanted that these web shops were building the brand Samsung as well. So they were giving some extra attention to the Samsung products on their website instead of the Sony products or other brands. This worked at first, but in the end, still there was a price erosion, and now the margins on televisions are really poor for both retailer and for manufacturers. Samsung decided to create new earning models, new business models, by including apps to their television. Now when you order a video through an app on your television, Samsung get paid. And also Samsung decided to open their own website, their own web shop, and sell products there at a premium price. Well, consumers are not going to buy a television at a premium price, so they're not selling much televisions there, but they do want to order the newest Samsung Galaxy phone. So they sell a lot of these mobile phones in the first few weeks when it's on the market. So they found new ways to earn money with their business. MediaMarkt, on the other hand, went online, started a web shop, so went to become an e-tailer, and also last year they started a website called BricoDay, which is a pure player in kitchen appliances. So what can we learn from that? I think there's a danger in e-commerce as well as there's an opportunity. The danger is the danger of price erosion. And this is mainly the case with easy products like television that you put in a box and you ship to the consumer. I think the same could happen with power tools, but luckily there are also a lot of products in home improvement that are much more difficult. For instance, redecorating your your entire living room is a difficult job. Consumers have a lot of questions about that. Or buying a closet, which is a walk-in closet. Those are difficult projects, and consumers need education on that. They have questions. There's a retailer in Sweden, which is called Byggmax, who has created a tool for this, and I think is a very good example how to deal with e-commerce in home improvement. I will now show a short video about well, what problems their customers were facing and what solutions they came up with.
But still left our customers with a few problems. Problems like, I don't know how, I don't know what type of materials to use or how much. Finding good and reliable building professionals is difficult and takes time. And since we always listen to our customers, we created a powerful tool to solve all your problems. Now you can realize your renovation dream in a way that's fun, quick, and easy. It only takes a few clicks. Lars has been dreaming of renovating his living room for a while now, but he has a hard time picturing the end result. Do you need a hand, Lars?
We present the Building Planner, a brand new way for Lars to make his dreams come true. This tool lets you design your room just the way you want it. With this planner's simple and intuitive platform, you can create a blueprint of your room, mark your doors and windows, and then just select the type of room you want and start designing your dream. You can choose your favorite flooring, wallpaper, paint, door, or stripping and combine into more than 100 billion different combinations.
Looking good, Lars. But do you know what materials you need? And how much you need to buy?
Don't worry. The Building Planner will tell you exactly what materials and how much you'll need to get started. It will also make a list of the tools and accessories you will need. You will see the final price during the entire process, and all the materials will be delivered right to your doorstep. And just to make sure we give you exactly the right products, we also ask you control questions, like what type of wall and the type of floor you have today.
But Lars, do you really have time to renovate all this by yourself?
If you don't want to renovate yourself, we have hand-picked building professionals to do the work for you at a fixed price. You decide whether you want help with the entire project or just a part of it. And if you are already a professional, you can use the Building Planner to save time and make sure you get exactly what you need for your project.
Nice work, Lars.
So nice work. And then I'll skip the video because then of course he's getting a fabulous living room. So what can we learn from that? It's, you know, when you're selling wooden floors or laminate floors, it is easy to compare those products when they're just in the box. But when you're selling them like Byggmax is doing, it's not possible for consumers to compare anymore. They get a lot of service as well. They buy a lot of other products to go with it. And you stay out of the price erosion. Now, for my last two slides, something more about the US market. There we also see the rapid growth of online buying by consumers, especially in the segments plumbing, electrical and kitchen. And well, the second biggest retailer is Lowe's in the US. They are saying a competitive edge exists for us in being the project authority for the home improvement consumer. So they are also finding the same things as Byggmax. You have to do more than just you know, shipping the box. How do they do that? By facilitating the consumers with how-tos on their website, how to do a certain job, how to paint your house, what to buy, and help them with it. Because they realize that the customers that they have are multi-channel right now. It's not a choice to be online. You have to be online because our customers want to engage online, but at the same time they also want to engage in the store via call centers, on the job site and at their home. And Louis says it's our job to maximize all of those touch points. And I think that's the biggest advantage that the traditional retailers have, because they have these shops and they have these opportunities to get in touch with the consumer. Well, final, the takeaways from this presentation. What have we seen? The Italian construction market remains weak, while the European Union is recovering in when it comes to building volumes. On the other hand, we see some positive developments on the consumer side, growth in consumer spending on home improvement, and the consumer confidence has increased. We also expect a shift from do-it-yourself to more do-it-for-me in the next 10 years. And also, when you think the share of online is still limited in my product category, expect that it will grow rapidly, because it will in certain categories. But still, no category is the same and all countries differ. So when you decide to start selling your products online, know the facts and also learn from mistakes that others make and cases from other branches, like the Samsung case. In the end, online channels and traditional channels are mixing up, and the biggest challenge for you will be to find a competitive advantage online and stay out of this price erosion. And I think the big question is at this moment is who will become the online authority for home improvement jobs in Italy. I think it can very well be a traditional retailer, because they have the advantage of having the stores, having the people, the staff working, having the facilities to have consumers calling them. And for instance, when you are buying a closet with sliding doors, as a consumer you might want to orientate yourself online on forehand and then go to the store and then go back online after you spoke to a salesman who gave you some good advice, and you show what he has advised you at home to your family, and then decide to buy it online. I think this is a very powerful way for traditional retailers to win this and to become the project authorities in home improvement. That's it for me. Thank you very much for your attention.